It's an incredible number. More than 10 million people have been displaced by the 9-year-long civil war in Syria, which shows no signs of ending. As a result, millions have experienced psychological trauma, but may fear getting help because of a stigma associated with mental illness in the region. For those who do seek treatment, less than 1% of aid is dedicated to their mental health. We traveled with an American aid worker to a camp in Jordan to witness a special program meant to address this crisis in care. This is Market Street here, and it's a rustling, bustling urban center, so to speak.
Absolutely. You can get pretty much anything you need that you would find in Amman or other cities nearby.
But this isn't your average city in the Middle East. It's a center of commerce in one of the world's largest refugee camps, the Zatri camp in Jordan, home to nearly 80,000 Syrians displaced by civil war.
None of us should ever be okay with calling this normal, but it's become an accepted reality for a lot of people.
Mike Nikinchuk has been doing humanitarian work here since 2012. This started as a small collection of tents, but has turned into something more permanent.
I saw that journey of what started out as shock of adjusting to this place, of leaving home, of losing friends, losing family, losing the very sense of identity that was once sacred.
That loss would be difficult for anyone, but perhaps hardest for those with invisible wounds.
Nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, barrel bombs. We've innovated in ways to stress people out, to traumatize people. And in the same way, we have to innovate by understanding science and how we can hack those systems that we already have to heal.
Nikinchuk isn't just an aid worker. He's also a brain scientist.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
He works for Beyond Conflict, a nonprofit that combines behavioral science and humanitarian work. To do that here, Nikinchuk created a self-help tool called the Field Guide for Barefoot Psychologists. Through this story about 2 displaced Syrian siblings, the guide simplifies brain science and teaches readers coping skills to recover from trauma. So there are emotional, mental processes that have a physical impact on your body.
Absolutely.
That can be addressed.
Absolutely.
Through simple exercises.
Something very simple, using your breath, putting pressure to certain points and joints in your body, activates different aspects of the nervous system, of the endocrine system, whatever it might be. We believe knowledge is power. Let's give knowledge. It's not that hard. Kafa Awajan is a Syrian refugee living here. She leads field guide sessions to teach mindfulness and to show others that anger and depression are natural responses to the horrors they've experienced. I feel more relaxed, but I don't feel as though I've been through the trauma or stress that you have.
Of course, yes, of course. The body will imply to the brain that I can relax. I can deal with the situation. I'm okay, and we will be able to relax. And at the same time, we will be effective.
These classes have made all the difference for Yasmin Al-Nassan, a mother of 4. Where did you feel the anxiety? Where was it? Identify it. Here. Shuts your throat down. Nightmares about the war made her seek out a psychiatrist at Zatri.
She would give me a medication, like sleeping pills or a sedative. I felt like it was local anesthesia. But what after the local anesthesia? I go back to feeling the same way.
Al-Nassan says what she's learned has driven much of her anxiety away, allowing her to focus on what really matters.
What I want for myself is to be a good mother, to find my way. What I want for my children is to realize the dreams I had for myself.
There's mental health here available to people. How is your program different?
Anyone is willing to read a story. By using story, we're functionally doing group therapy, where you're allowing people who are living in a culture of incredible stigma against mental health an effective out, where you're still talking about things by letting people talk about characters in a story where they're seeing themselves.
Perhaps the field guide's stories hit home because they were co-authored by someone who lived them. Mohammed Kier Mustafa. What can you tell me about how you came here?
كابوس.
It was a nightmare.
شيء أنت عايش حقيقي.
First, just going from village to village. Then, when things got even worse and the situation became more difficult, there were no options. So we had to come here.
كل شيء تغير.
Mustafa put his suffering on the page to improve the lives of his fellow refugees.
شو بدي أحكي بالاجتماع.
If a person understood his surroundings, his body, his needs, if he understood his responses to circumstances and traumas, then he will definitely be able to react properly.
يتصرف الطريقة المناسبة.
That's certainly what Abdallah Kasawani hopes for. He defected from the Syrian government and now lives in this sea of shipping containers. But he dreams of raising his sons in a place with more opportunities.
The guide came to help to open up a person's eyes to help him find the treasure that lies within him. The guide was able to communicate with a person's soul. This is how the guide was really able to help.
The field guide is currently the subject of one of the largest studies to measure well-being in a post-conflict zone. And the findings are promising.
There's some people who, because of the nature of their PTSD, they're hyper. They can't control their impulses. For other people, the response to loss, to trauma, has been to chill out, to mellow out too much. Every individual, no matter their symptom profile, seems to be getting what they need.
If this works here, where else can it work?
I want to see this with young incarcerated men in the United States. I want to see neo-Nazis dealing with their own stress and trauma. I want to see migrants coming across the border dealing with this. No one is guaranteed a life free from trauma. These are universal experiences. These are human experiences that can and will affect people at all levels of society. And I want to see this in as many places as possible across the United States.
And the fact that so many people have opened up and have volunteered to utilize the field guide really is a testament to Mike Nickenchuk, Beyond Conflict, and even to the Jordanian government, because to some respect they have essentially said, you know what, there's an element of trust here, and we are ready to heal ourselves.
I love that last question, Michelle, because it is that, how do we use this elsewhere? And even what he didn't say, the idea of people that are dealing with gang shootings, that are dealing with loss, huge loss in natural disasters, anything like that.
Anything.
As you said, a universal experience, a human experience.